Hey everybody, it is May 10th, 2023, and as James Corden would say, roll that open. Welcome to the Carolina Weather Group for Wednesday, May 10th, 2023. I'm James Brierton in Charlotte, North Carolina, with Frank Strait in Columbia, South Carolina, and Scotty Powell in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's episode 453 of the Carolina Weather Group. Although, guys, I kind of hesitated on whether or not to even give it like an official number because this week there's no agenda, there's no guests, there's no itinerary. We're just here to shoot the breeze and talk about Carolina weather, and we hope wherever you are streaming with us on this Wednesday night, you will join the conversation by commenting with us. Otherwise, it's just going to be us three boring dudes talking. So we really hope you will get involved in the conversation. Always like to get this in right towards the tippy top. These are the folks scrolling across the bottom of your screen who help make this show possible. Become a Patreon supporter of the Carolina Weather Group at patreon.com/Carolina Weather Group. And for just $1, you can unlock extras, which help us not get rich, not prevent balding, but rather just pay the bills around here. We just renewed one of our biggest bills of the year, guys, which is the live streaming software that we use. We love it, but it does cost money. And thanks to the support of our Patreon supporters, it didn't cost any of us out of pocket. We used it from our Carolina Weather Till. So thank you to our Patreon supporters. I can see that we got folks watching right now on YouTube and on Facebook, and we'd love to know where you are watching from. Join that conversation by commenting along with us. It's 74 here in Charlotte right now. It feels very comfortable, but I will tell you guys, I've broken out not only the air conditioner, but the way my house works, I've broken out the supplemental air conditioner. Because we have central air, but it's a two-story house built in 1985, and it's all on one zone. So regardless of the season, it's always hot upstairs and freezing downstairs. So we have an extra air conditioner that goes in this office with the bright lights and the computers, and it's at the tail end of the receive from the central air. And that helps to try to balance out. If we can make it a little bit colder upstairs where the thermostat is, then we don't have to run the air continuously. And that point came earlier this week because I know if it's been muggy here in Charlotte with that flirting first feel of summer. Frank, I think you said you got to 90 degrees this week, right?
92 actually here in Columbia.
92.
I beat you, Frank. Florence got to 93.
Yeah, well, Charleston beat us both. They got to 94.
That's right.
Wow. I didn't think we were going to make it there just yet, but boy, it was a reminder. Wow, that music got real beach-like all of a sudden. Like a little like
you were talking
about or something going on there.
It knows we're talking about the warmer weather.
I know. Our friend NCTN High Country Weather, not disappointing, commenting live with us on YouTube. Look at that sweet coastal hat that Scotty's wearing. You were at the game tonight, weren't you?
Well, I left early. Big matchup tonight. Number 8 Coastal Carolina taking on number 10 Clemson, and Coastal decided not to show up tonight. It was 12-2 in the 5th inning, and we were like, adios. So myself and
that's kind of the fate of Durham tonight up against the Knights. I think the last score I saw there was let's see, 7-1 right now.
Yeah,
final score.
Was not Charlotte a good night. Myself and Andrew Dockery from MBF here in Myrtle Beach.
Are you moving your mic around or something?
I am, yes.
A lot of banging around going on over there.
Sorry about that. Yeah, myself and Andrew. Andrew has the morning shift. I'm off tomorrow, but he's got the morning shift. So he's like, you know what? I think I'm going to savor an extra hour's sleep. And so
this game is so bad, I'd rather be sleeping is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So we checked out early, but you can't win them all, but this would have been a good one to win.
I haven't been to a baseball game yet this year, but I'm hoping to get to Uptown for Charlotte Knights. Good. It's a good time for anybody who hasn't been to a Charlotte Knights game. Although I will say, I'm always impressed, surprised, confused on how many baseball teams there are in the Charlotte area. Because I know there's one in Hickory, and there's one in Gastonia, and there's one in Salisbury, Kannapolis. There's one in Kannapolis. Like, we have so many baseball teams, and yet no MLB.
Yep. You got one in Asheville as well.
Do we?
Yeah, the Asheville Tourist. You go down to Greenville, South Carolina for the Greenville Drive. Down to Columbia, where Frank's at, the Fireflies.
Oh yeah, the Fireflies.
You can go to Myrtle Beach here at the Pelicans. Eastern North Carolina has the Wood Ducks. Trying to think. Salem. There's another, the Mudcats, Carolina Mudcats, which is just outside of Raleigh. So a lot of minor league teams around the Carolinas.
The baseball teams all have. I feel like it's the hip thing right now for a minor league team to be like, we're going to have a ridiculous name like Savannah Bananas.
I definitely want to go to a Savannah Banana game. Like,
we should make that an expedition, Carolina
Oh
Weather
my
Group
gosh.
official expedition.
yeah,
Now, it's funny you say that because I do really want to dream about, and I'm just going to lay this out there. I want to lay out a series where we do travel and we meet people. Right, we've been blessed to do weatherproof at the Shield Museum in Gastonia, but that really depends on you being in that kind of like broader Charlotte area. Which, by the way, we do have the new date from Candace, and I'll share it in a minute. But here is my idea. I almost want to go to, like, I don't know, airports and go to, like, the Overlook, because I feel like weather nerds, weather plays a role in aviation. You can watch planes. We can talk about weather. So I don't know if you guys like that idea. Charlotte's Overlook right now is temporarily relocated while they're doing some construction. Chris Jackson tells me Columbia's real nice. If you follow Chris on Twitter, you've seen his pictures. So maybe we go to the Heat Dome Bowl that is Columbia.
I was about to say that we would have to invite Chris along if we were to do it here in Columbia.
Certainly. Because, I mean, he'd be able to tell us all about the plans. And this idea popped into my head because there's a YouTube channel. I should give them proper credit if I can find their name here real fast. Based out of Los Angeles. And that's what they do. They just like stream planes. Super nerdy, but super cool. I think airline videos live. Airline videos. Yeah. Yeah. And they just like talk about planes. And I don't know. Folks in the comments, if you would be interested in that, let us know. I'm, as you guys know, a rail fan. So nothing against airplanes, but I tend to just like go to train yards, watch the trains move around. But that's not really a like friendly come out and hang out with us in the dusty rail yard. I don't think the railroad company would like that very much.
Well, they probably wouldn't. Or we could invite my son to come along. He's actually an engineer, or a conductor.
Ooh,
so
that would be Yeah, don't
we
get
to meet a real Norfolk Southern employee.
That does sound fun. I was hanging out with some friends this weekend. One of them works for not a railroad, but like a railroad company that makes and repairs train cars in Augusta. My son was all very excited about that. NCTN High Country Weather, who I think we got to get you a shorter name because that just takes me too long to roll off the tongue. Should have a ticket giveaway for one of your Patreon members to go with y'all to a game.
I agree.
That's not a bad idea.
I see where you're going with this.
We could work that out.
Yeah. That would be cool. Let me get the date.
The game would depend on where the Patreon supporter is located.
That would be bad. It's like somebody from Charleston wins to like Asheville.
Yeah, make him go see the tourists play.
Yeah. Speaking of coming to hang out with us, I feel pretty confident that we're going to try to make this work. But our friend Candace Jordan at the Shield Museum of Natural History in Gastonia, North Carolina, is letting us know. Save the date, folks. The weatherproof event will be back Saturday, July 15th. Saturday, July 15th from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. Gastonia. Located just to the west of Charlotte. Or as SNL once called it, Charlotte, the gateway to Gastonia. Kenan Thompson. I think it was Weekend Update he made that joke. That was amusing. But there you have it.
Well, Myrtle Beach just got a South Park show.
A South Park show? You got PGA Golf coming, right?
We got the PGA Tour announced today. They're coming starting next year. The schedule hasn't been released yet, so I'm not sure the exact date. But South Park actually did an episode based on Myrtle Beach.
Like South Park the show. My Charlotte brain was like South Park the mall?
No, like South Park the TV show. I want to say it's about a month or so ago. You can Google it. Or, shameless plug, WBTW.com. You can find that article there. And
that's what Scotty does when he's not forecasting. He's like,
right.
I'm going to write this article about South Park.
You can go check it out there. But, it's you can definitely tell it's Myrtle Beach. So,
Well, I will counter your shameless plug with a shameless plug of my own, because I wrote a WCNC article about this. This is the launch of Tropics, the new hurricane tracking satellites. These are CubeSats. You guys will remember, I think it was 2022. We kicked off that year with an interview. Megan Herps, I think was her name, from Wired Magazine was telling us all about it. They finally launched them. They finally launched these tiny little shoebox-sized satellites that are going to go over the tropics. They got the first 2 up in orbit, and then there's going to be 2 more sets of 2 more, making a total of 6, if I remember correctly, that will allow us and forecasters and scientists around the world to get access to new low Earth orbit photos of the tropics. And these will kind of work like Starlink works for SpaceX, where you have a bunch of small satellites flying in a tight kind of choreographed line, and they're going to pass over the storm once an hour. So that will get us high resolution about once an hour. Now we have the GOES satellites, which give us new pictures every few minutes, but then we have the current. There's a Google Fiber ad. Get out of here, Google Fiber. When you run cable down my street, we can talk. And these will give us once an hour. We've got the GOES that give us every couple minutes, but then we have the orbital ones that only give us like once every 6 hours. So this will kind of add to that suite. Hurricane season, guys, right around the corner, believe it or not. June 1st is the beginning of hurricane season.
Yep. And in South Carolina, it's Hurricane Prep Month.
Ooh. Okay, what can we do to prep for a hurricane, Frank?
Well, for starters, make sure you have your disaster kit properly stocked.
Food, water, medicine, batteries,
water, meds, dollars, etc.
Ooh, cash.
Yes.
There's one that people probably don't think about much.
Right.
I remember the great blackout of 03 in New York, and a lot of places closed down because even then it was like everyone only had credit cards.
Yeah.
Also, your pet supplies.
That's right. Don't forget the fur babies.
So true.
And do remember that a lot of the facilities that take in hurricane shelter, like hurricane evacuees, will not allow your pets in there. So make sure that you check that out before you decide on where you want to go.
There are some pet-friendly shelters, but most are not. So
you gotta
you
know
need
exactly
to find
where,
a
right?
pet-friendly shelter if you're taking your pet to a shelter.
Also, manual can opener is one that a lot of people forget.
Right, because you're gonna have like cans of like beans and things, but no way to open.
Yeah, yeah.
There's some guy
a
watching.
lot of
I got a pocket knife. I like it.
A lot of folks have the can openers that you can electric that you can plug in, but you want to have a manual one. Let's see. I'm trying to think, Frank, as well, because we've talked too much about hurricanes the last couple of weeks on air. What else are some of those other ones that?
Battery packs.
Yeah, battery packs.
With.
For phones and things.
Right.
I have one that charges AA batteries off a solar panel, which I'm always like, I'll be good. Of course, it takes like 12 hours to charge like 2 batteries.
Yeah.
So
If you have the means, it's not a terrible idea to get one of those bigger battery pack with AC inverter kind of things. They cost good money, but you can plug a solar panel into that.
I know a lot of
Plug
people.
a series of them and have a good bit of power to use. Actually, you might even be able to keep your fridge running for a while.
Yeah, I know a lot of people up in New York, at least Long Island, where I'm from, went out and got generator backups for their homes after Sandy because they were without power for a week or more. And some of them,
Which reminds me,
to get those backfed ones. What's that?
Which reminds me, generator safety. Do not run your generator indoors. That is a bad idea.
That's a very bad idea.
It produces carbon monoxide, which will kill you.
It's like running your car in the garage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of health, it's a good idea if you are evacuating that you get a month supply of your medicine just in case you're not able to get back into your residence for a couple 3 weeks, and then the pharmacy has issues backing up with medicines and stuff like that. So that's one thing we've talked about is, making sure you have that month supply. Some people have the option to do like a 3-month supply, 90-day supply. That's a great idea as well. And just knowing that if you do have to evacuate and the unfortunate circumstance a hurricane does hit, it takes time to get back into where you live at. So,
Sure.
prepare. If you're evacuating, prepare to be gone for at least 2 weeks is what we've been telling folks. And that could even be extended even more. Frank, you look back at Hurricane Matthew and Dorian and the downstream or river flooding that happens after the hurricane actually hits. We have communities that weren't initially affected by the river flooding. So, just be prepared that, you could be out of your home for a few weeks. So just make sure you take those precautions. It's also a great idea to have a digital copy of any important
Frank
documents.
goes bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Frank. Yes,
Right.
hard copies of documents. That makes sense too.
So just some more ideas to
My
float
brain's
out
all
there.
screwed up. You know, like when you have one day off from work and then you go back to work and you can't remember if it's Tuesday or Wednesday because we had no
Yes.
snow and the winter was just kind of like meh. I'm like,
First-
it's May? How did that happen?
First time in 139 years. I can't remember the exact years that Charlotte's not recorded snow in a winter
Yes,
situation.
I think we can officially call it now. I don't think
Yeah.
there's going to be any surprises.
I don't think so either. I think we're out of that time of the year. So
let's get over to the comments here real fast. Jeremy watching tonight on the Carolina Weather Group YouTube. Any news about this upcoming hurricane season? Will it be active or slow? I was just going to say, stay subscribed, Jeremy, because I think it's next week that we're talking to Dr. Phil Klotzbach from Colorado State University. And for those of you who don't know, because I found this to be a great surprise a couple years ago. Yes, Colorado doesn't get any hurricanes, but they're really good at forecasting hurricanes.
that's right. And to kind of give you just a little sneak peek of that conversation, there's going to be some good news and not so good news that kind of counterbalance each other. So
Yeah.
it's a situation where we could see a very active season or not a very active season at all. And it all has to deal with the El Nino.
Well, that's also what's
we're getting into that El Nino time. It continues to peak up, which normally kind of hampers hurricane development, but we have some abnormally sea surface temperatures in the Atlantic basin that kind of may counteract each other. So
we'll
talk more about that next week.
So the next week, Dr. Phil Klotzbach, interview with the Carolina Weather Group, Colorado State University's prediction. Related, because I'm pretty sure this doesn't come up in his Colorado-based conversation. NC State also did their prediction. I'll put that on the screen for us. How's that sound? So they are predicting that we will see in the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season 11 to 15 named storms. That's their prediction. Of these 11 to 15 named storms, 6 to 18 may grow strong enough to become hurricanes. The historical average is 6, with the possibility of 2 to 3 of these storms becoming major hurricanes. Now, they always say, and this is so true, it only takes one really bad storm, and it doesn't really matter what happens the rest of it. You can have one storm that could be devastating. You could have an unfortunate season, like the year we had Katrina, that you get multiple storms. So, we'll see.
You look at 1992. That was very, very low hurricane year, but it only took one, and that was Hurricane Andrew. And you remember the damage it did to South Florida.
Did you know this is a Chris Mulcahy Weather IQ fun fact from WCNC Charlotte? Did you know if Andrew were to happen today, if that entire 1992 season were to repeat itself today, which obviously wouldn't happen, but that's what makes this a fun fact, that storm wouldn't have been called Andrew, it would have been called Bonnie, because there was an unnamed storm earlier before Andrew in August. And that, by today's rules, would have gotten the name Andrew, even though by 1992's rules, it went unnamed.
Interesting. I did not know that.
There you go.
My
brain is full of Mulcahy fun facts.
Another thing, for our viewers here who are watching tonight, I want to ask you this question. What letter of the alphabet has the most retired names from the hurricane season? What letter would you say it would be?
Yeah, go ahead and type that in. Remember, we start an A at the beginning of the season. Wait, I'm gonna put a little bit of a hint on the screen while they're thinking about this. Typical hurricane season peak. Where's that chart? So because I feel like you got a back time for this, right?
And
So
don't Google it. Don't Google
I'm not googling the answer.
No,
I'm
not
just
you.
googling.
Not you. I'm telling everybody else not to Google it.
Here's right. So the season normally peaks in like September.
Oh,
Okay, we got some guesses.
yeah.
Donna says D for Donna. Summer says I.
Haven't
Jeremy
known.
says M. I don't
We'll wait
know.
a couple more seconds. see if
Couple more.
anybody
Okay, I'm going to answer
comes
another
in.
question while and then we'll circle back to your trivia. Jeremy wants to know. So many chats coming in at once. I can't click on them. Jeremy wants to know: do you think we'll get another storm like Hugo in South Carolina? We've been overdue for major hurricanes. So I think the answer is yes, but I don't know that it'll be this year. No one knows that. I mean, statistically speaking, yes, we will see another one. Here's the thing about overdue, right? You could have 2 back-to-back really strong years. Think about it with flooding events, right? Like how many years in a row did we have 1,000-year flood event and then we go through a drought? So it's like, yes, there's a statistical average, but they don't necessarily happen every 100 years. So yes, unfortunately, we will see another storm as strong as Hugo at some point. Do I think it's going to happen this year? I'd be a really rich man if I knew the answer to that question.
Well, I will tell you this: it's to be determined. Think of Savannah, Georgia. It's on the coast. The last time it got hit by a hurricane was 1979. So, the odds are, maybe sometime down the road there's potential for another hit. But each season is unique and different. Each storm is unique and different. And I don't think you'll ever recopy or copy a Hurricane Hugo. Every storm is unique to its own thing. So it's just to be determined. But
Frank is back with us.
Yeah, odds are eventually.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I finally got back because I have things to say about this topic.
Okay,
go ahead then.
Do you know the answer to Scotty's trivia question? I feel like I don't want to get too far away from the answer to which is the most retired letter in the hurricane alphabet.
Yeah, I or H, I think.
Which one is it, Frank? You can't give us 2.
No, H then.
Oh, Summer got it right. It's I. 14 named storms with an I are retired. H would be second, but I.
Did they retire ECIS?
Isaias.
Isaias.
No, it is not retired. I think it comes back in 2026.
Well, then I better remember how to say it before 2026.
I believe.
You're not the only one.
Yes, you're correct.
I heard a little. I heard a little story this week. We'll have to talk about it off air, Frank. That's.
Oh man,
I think you were a part. You were a part of. So I heard a little story this week that I'll ask you off air. So go ahead with your thoughts on Hugo.
Yeah. Well, as for major hurricanes, at least for South Carolina, last one was Hugo, which hit in 1989. So that's 34 years ago, counting this season. Well, in South Carolina's hurricane history, there have been, over the last 172 years, going back to the start of the official records, there have been a total of 4 major hurricanes. That comes out to 1 out of every, guess what? About 34 years. Going back even further, starting with the year that the Great Charleston Hurricane hit, 1752, during the 1752 to 1850 period, there was the Great Charleston Hurricane, which was certainly a major. We're confident in saying that. There was another one that almost certainly was, and 2 more that probably were majors. The 1800s actually a really busy hurricane history in South Carolina. So if you take that 250-something year period, whatever it is, long time. Anyway, it once again comes out to about one major hurricane about every 34 years. So
this is why we
are
keep
due
Frank around
here in South Carolina for another major hurricane. This is not to say it'll happen this year or next year or anytime the next 10 years. It may be another 30 years before we get another one, or it could happen, in July. We don't know that. So, but the fact of the matter is, we do have to prepare. There's about a 3% chance of South Carolina being affected by a major hurricane each year.
I'll say the same thing about that 3% chance that I will about a 3% chance of a tornado. If I had a 3% chance of winning the lotto today, I'd go buy a bunch of tickets.
Heck yeah.
That's how I look at that probability. The other thing we got to think about, and I'm hoping I'm jinxing us by saying this out loud, is earthquakes. Right? You were naming all those natural disasters in South Carolina we've had from tropical events over the year, and you got to be thinking about Charleston, the rumblings that we've had in central South Carolina. Anyway, I'm going to move away from that before I give the universe any ideas. Let's bring Scotty in on this one, because this is a question I've seen a couple times now here in our chat. Scotty, we've had some severe thunderstorms rolling through the area over the course of the last 24 hours or so. Alex, watching now on YouTube, wants to know if you got any damage in the Myrtle Beach area yesterday from yesterday's severe storms.
Yeah, so no damage, no trees or anything like that down that I know of. I didn't see any reports, but I did see several reports of hail where we've seen anywhere from dime to nickel to quarter size hail. So it was very interesting yesterday. We had a long little shower over Anor, and as it was making its way slowly towards the coast, the sea breeze was coming over central Horry County and about over Conway. They collided and boom, thunderstorm for about 30,000 feet up formed. And we had a few reports of, again, some hail in the Conway area back towards Briarcliff Acres. But no reports of wind damage like down trees or anything that I know of. But we did see, for Myrtle Beach, very tropical, warm, humid environment for hailstones to survive the size of quarters to the ground. It's pretty cool, or pretty cool, I guess. Pretty rare to see happen. It's cool to meteorologists, but pretty rare to see here in a more tropical, humid environment. So it kind of tells you how cold how cold it was up above our heads, and also how larger those hailstones were, and they melted as they come to the ground. So.
For audio listeners, I want to explain the map we've got up on the screen here. Here are the confirmed storm reports overlaid with the storm warning polygons. And we really had three areas of significant interest. Eastern North Carolina had a ton of storms. The Charleston area had a storm roll through. But let's also talk for a moment, if we may, about upstate South Carolina yesterday, right outside Greenville. I feel like every time I looked at the radar yesterday, I actually thought my radar scope was frozen. Because I was like, still hailing. I'm pretty sure I went to go have dinner, came back. I mean, if audio listeners, I just want you to know right now that in this broader Greenville area, I-26, I-85, it's just like polygon on top of polygon on top of polygon for what was just like stationary parked storms. I don't know what the largest hail was. That's 2 inches.
2.5 inches, I think is what I saw.
One of these is 2.5 in here someplace.
2 inches? Okay.
Okay, well, we had 2 inches.
Right, big hail.
Yeah, in downtown Greenville. That is significant hail. So Myrtle Beach, we did have a severe thunderstorm warning. No confirmed reports. Charleston, we did have some wind gusts. We had
80 mile, almost an 80 mile per hour wind gust.
Yeah, 79. Something else.
Wow. Now with that, here's a question I got to go to. 79 miles an hour. That gets you a upgraded tag in the new rule book, doesn't it?
Considerable, I believe so.
Considerable damage.
It does. Well, if they're calling for that in the warning, then yes, that results in the updated tag. If it's not, if it's something that just happened, that doesn't change the warning. I don't think.
Yeah. Let me pull my screen out and I'll look it up.
I saw several videos out of Eastern North Carolina where it looked like it snowed. Let me see if I can pull that up.
Okay. And Frank, what do you got on your screen for us while he pulls that up?
I am just looking through the storm reports here from the storm prediction centers to make sure I was correct about the hail being 2 inches, and I was actually wrong. It's
2.25.
Yeah, the biggest reported.
Okay, we were close. We'd find it eventually. I was trying to find
the black dots you see there in upstate South Carolina are all 2 inch or greater hail reports there, and then the little black square is that 79 mile an hour gust in downtown Charleston.
I was trying to find one of these new little graphics that explains the different tiers, but essentially severe thunderstorm warnings for anybody who didn't see this show that we did previously. We'll have severe thunderstorm warnings, but now they kind of come with like 3 flavors: considerable and catastrophic type damage, and the worse the storm, it may actually activate the emergency alert on your phone, kind of like Amber Alerts. Scotty's got the video up here. Where are we looking, Scotty? Where is this?
This is Ada, North Carolina, and Eastern North Carolina near Greenville. But look how much it looks like it snowed. I mean,
it looks like a slushy just like flowing down the driveway.
And I was going through the comments. I think the largest reported here was quarter-size hill. But, I mean, look at that. The streets could use a snowplow through there. I mean,
wow.
It's pretty
yeah,
why is that
volume of hail there?
Yeah. Why is hashtag tornado trending?
There's some tornadoes out in Colorado right now, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that where they're filming the Twister movie? Allegedly, the sequel is actually filming. Allegedly,
they are, and I know KOCO, our friends there, are advocating for the production crew to come out and join them tomorrow to maybe get some coverage of.
Like Damon Lane Station is advocating that the film company shadow their storm trackers to get actual storm footage. Is that the idea?
Get some actual. So we'll see what happens there, but the potential's there. It could be a rough day in Oklahoma tomorrow.
Let's see. I think Frank's got it up on his screen. Is this tomorrow, Frank, or is this right now?
No, that's the current. There's tornado watch out in eastern Colorado and parts of Kansas and Nebraska.
Yeah, is tomorrow the 10% hatch day?
Yes. Excuse me. I didn't mean to yawn there.
So yes. On the Frank can go there on the Storm Prediction Center's Day 2 Outlook. I think we have a 10% chance of a tornado. There's an enhanced.
There's the tornado hatch. Yes, it's a central Oklahoma severe day.
Right over OKC.
Yep.
You know it's gonna be a Super Bowl fest for tomorrow.
Can we watch it a lot
now? If you're weather nerds, go ahead and get your K4, your News 9, and your KOCO live streams up and going because it will be
grab
the
the popcorn and the nachos.
That's right.
In the living room.
For anyone
as a weather nerd, this is what I do. So if you want to know what I do during severe weather, I'll be the first to admit I join a stream and watch.
For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, the television stations in Oklahoma City and Tulsa chase tornadoes and do tornado warning coverage like nowhere else in the country. Not only do they have live storm chasers on the ground, but they chase them with helicopters. And I think they managed to do this quote unquote safely because the land is so flat that the helicopter can be far enough away that it has visibility. You could never do this in our part of the country. It's too, but yes, I know what you're going to say.
Last event.
I know I said air quote safely, didn't I?
Yeah, the Channel 9 helicopter got a little too close, and hailstones blew out the whole windshield in front of them. So they had to do a pretty quick landing.
I am sorry to say, at some point, if they're not careful, something really bad could happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to be really careful when you're in the air a half mile from a tornado. Sometimes it looks even closer.
And if you want to visit our shows, our library shows on YouTube, you can go back to the Damon Lane show, and he says in there that their coverage, not only his station but all the other stations, draws as much as a Super Bowl would, ratings wise. Like everybody in the state has their favorite channel they like to watch, and it's almost like a Super Bowl numbers that they gather every time one of these big severe weather outbreaks occurs. So. It's worth tuning into if you've never watched it, because I promise you will not see tornadoes this close as some of the chasers get, and some spectacular images out of the helicopter. I mean, you just see these mammoth, just like mothership supercells rolling along the plains, and you'll see lightning and tornadoes and hail and everything else. So
I'm going to put this in our live chat right now I think this is 2018, it says.
Yes.
He also shares, I remember he shares an incredible story. Again, he's a TV meteorologist, so he was on the air covering a tornado warning that he knew included his home and his neighborhood, and his wife was at home. And he shares that story. It's pretty incredible. and you can find that in the Carolina Weather Group library. The other thing, as we were just talking, I was reminded of, and I just kind of wanted to throw this out there real fast, as we're talking about the archive. The YouTube is great for that. Spotify also has a lot of our more recent shows uploaded as video. So on some of those maps and things we were just showing a few minutes ago, if you're listening to us right now on the audio podcast feed and you happen to be on Spotify or want to hop on over to Spotify, you can actually toggle over, watch some of the video, and then turn your screen off, put this back in your pocket, and go right back to audio. I know you could do that on YouTube if you're a YouTube Premium subscriber, where you can turn the screen off and continue to get the audio, but Spotify gives that away to everybody. And I thought that's kind of a cool feature for anybody that might be in a situation where they want to glance at us, but then keep listening without running down their battery. Frank, what do you got here on the screen for us? This is News 9 out of Oklahoma
I hope we don't get in
right?
trouble for showing this. This is
We probably will.
This is a YouTube video of David Payne from News 9 in Oklahoma City, and he's showing their helicopter footage of the tornado hitting Moore, Oklahoma. And I was actually in Oklahoma. I was in Norman, out there for a workshop when this hit. I was able to see the top part of this tornado from my hotel room, and I was watching David Payne this live on the air as this helicopter that was a mile or so away, maybe even closer. Hard to tell because of the zoom on the camera, but there was a tornado that went through Moore and across I-35 there. It was rated EF2.
Well, this reminds me of something that James Spann, chief meteorologist in Birmingham, Alabama, said on our show, and it's one of our most watched shows, regardless of what time of year it is. But he came on our show a year or so ago to talk about it was 2011, right? The 2011 outbreak in Alabama. And he says, you can show all the radar you want, but seeing is believing. And that's what News 9 is doing here with their helicopters. And James Spann does a lot with his sky cameras, is people will take you more seriously and heed the warning a little bit more proactively if they can see the threat. I'm gonna put the Spann show in our chat right now too.
One more archive if you really are into Oklahoma tornadoes. We also had Gary England on, I don't know, several years back, and Gary can tell you some stories from was it 2013, I believe. We had the El Reno tornado.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think it's 2013. Gary can kind of talk you through that. So anyways, there's tons of archive shows that you guys can watch or tune into and listen to that if you're interested about how the Oklahoma City market is just a little bit different, and not in a bad way, just a little bit different than everybody else. You can really see how intense their tornado coverage can be.
It's impressive. Yeah, it's really impressive. And the one thing I wonder, and this is coming from a guy, and Scotty, you probably experienced this too, as we have day jobs in Carolina TV. We'll get a tornado warning somewhere in the 22 counties that we cover here in the Charlotte area. If there's not severe weather happening in those other 21 counties, or even the other parts of that county with the warning, the viewers here are not the same as I imagine they might be in Oklahoma, where people, like you said, turn out to watch a lot of that, because not only do they make it somewhat entertaining in their life-saving operation, but it is so widespread and so impactful to so many people. But we'll end up, the way our TV market works here, we might have a storm in like Chesterfield County, which is like halfway to Myrtle Beach for us, and people in the mountains want to know why we've interrupted their NBC programming, and that's just the way the technology works.
That's how it's got to be. I mean, it's federally mandated. If there's a tornado warning in your DMA, and for those who don't know what DMA is, basically your market area that you cover, you have to air that because that's life-saving information. And I think a lot of Oklahomans understand that, and they've seen the destruction year after year after year of tornadoes, and they kind of get it. And here in the Carolinas, we don't see as many tornadoes, but it's still important. At times like that, you want to care for your neighbor. I know sometimes it may interrupt your favorite shows, but it's for the greater good and to keep everyone safe and up to date. And the good thing about these tornado warnings is they're pretty short-lived here in the Carolinas. We'll go about 30 minutes, and that's about it. It's over with. So it's just on those.
Please don't jinx us.
Yeah, on those really long severe weather days, it may be a little longer than that, but on general.
It is May, quick. Remember.
They're pretty quick, so just
in 2 weeks, I'm going to roll that quote back, and I'm just going to stare you down. I want to be like, this is your fault.
I'm just
This
glad
is
it's
your
not
fault.
happening this weekend because all our meteorologists are off except me. And so I was like, oh gosh, this weekend is going to be a little bit of everything, Karen. It's going to be only me, but fingers crossed it looks like
Well,
it's
this
gonna
is
be a
not an
nice
official
weekend.
forecast, but we are in the month of Memorial Day, and the Coca-Cola 600 is coming to Charlotte Motor Speedway,
Yes.
and history would have me believe it's going to monsoon.
That seems to be some point during NASCAR weekend in Charlotte. There's always a threat of rain. Yep. And next week is actually the All-Star race in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina.
Ooh, you going?
So, yes, I will be there. I'll be in Charlotte back-to-back or in North Carolina back-to-back weekends. So, yeah, we'll be there. We'll share some pictures on our Carolina Weather Group social media page. That is a big to-do thing because North Wilkesboro once was lost and forgotten, and it was always said you'll never see another race there, and it's about to be the premier event of this year for NASCAR. So a really cool story for the folks of Wilkes County and all of North Carolina. I mean, this is a historic event, so we'll keep our fingers crossed we don't see any rain because we want that event to go off without a hitch and just let everybody enjoy the nostalgia and the beauty of it coming back.
Folks who watch or listen to the show often know that I'm not the world's biggest sports fan, but this is one that registers with me because it has such like a I almost said
history.
Cinderella. I almost said Cinderella storyline, but there's so many Cinderella storylines. But it is really cool. I do feel like I've even stumbled into this in my own like casual YouTube browsing, be like the lost speedways of NASCAR, and then here bringing this one back, and it's local.
Kind of like
so
it's kind of like that kid who got left out, you know, and then they're like, oh, you know, you've wrote the kid off, and now he's able to show how
it's gonna shine.
He is. So, yeah.
So does the Cinderella story? Okay, great. Well, take us lots of pictures, would you? Let us know. I'm not going to be there, so we'll defer to you.
Yes,
and all the fine folks at the Speedway who have these events. Are they back to back?
Yes, a lot of them are pulling back to back weekends. Yeah,
because the Wilkesboro track is run and maintained by the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yep, owned by the same people. Yep.
I guess that's the Speedway part of the Speedway.
Yes, the Speedway part of Speedway Motorsports.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're coming up on time, I suppose. If you like these live, off the cuff, shooting the breeze conversations, let us know in chat if you'd like to see more of them, and we'll try to do more of them. I know we enjoy doing them. Scotty's wearing a Coastal hat, but if you'd like to support our show, another way you can do that is by purchasing a Carolina Weather Group hat.
You know what? I would have my Carolina Weather Group, but I wore it to the golf course last week, so it's on my golf bag right now. So it really is. I'm not lying.
Did you know, Scotty, that the hats that the staff have are all blue, but if you click the link or scan the QR code,
you can get a different color.
You can do like pink or camo or green or red.
I couldn't wear a green one on air though. My head would
disappear into the wall. I would also like to see you try to wear a Carolina Weather Group hat on WBTW. That would probably
see what we could do.
See how fast Scotty gets called into the principal's office.
Yeah, maybe when you're doing a live remote thing and you're wearing
out on the pier,
doesn't exactly go well with a suit when you're in the studio. But
yeah. Scotty, Frank,
yes,
good to see you.
Good seeing you guys, and like James said, we love doing these. We love just sit around talking weather and answering your questions. So
yes, I'll close out with a comment going back to our which storm has the most frequent, which letter is most frequently retired from the hurricane list, and Summer, who I believe guessed it correctly and watching with us on YouTube, said I feel like it's kind of ironic that it's the letter I, because I is the one that is hardest names to name. That's why I remember when I read that. So what is our I name?
That is so true. That is so true. Is it IGOR? Igor?
Igor? Is that what you're telling me? We're all, who can Google the fastest? I knew I was going to ask that question. I should have checked. Here it is.
Adelia.
Oh, no, we were nowhere close.
What is Igor?
Isaac. Oh yeah,
here's not even on there.
Here's Isaias 2026. I have it.
Do you have the backup list?
The backup list for when we run out of names, like whatever year that was? I imagine it's linked on here.
What's the there's
a link to it on there, I thought.
There.
Yeah.
Whoop.
What? Beep. Beep.
Is that it?
No, that's Central North Pacific. Eastern North Pacific.
Eastern
anyway,
Pacific.
we no longer use the Greek alphabet. I don't know. I don't know.
I found
Tune
it.
in next time.
Oh, Frank
I had
found
to go
it.
to the WMO page, but I found it.
What is it?
Check the
You can-
screen
oh,
share that I have.
screen share. Screen share. Here you go. So if we had to do another
Here is
series
the
of names.
supplemental list. Let me make it bigger.
Okay.
There we go. Adria, Braylon, Caridad. Braylon, we have a millennial name on there. Deshaun Emery Foster, Gemma. There's another millennial name. Heath Isla, Jacobus, Kenzie. There's another millennial name. Michaela, another millennial name. Nolan
Okay.
Orlando Pax. Now the Weather Channel uses that as one of their winter storm names.
Okay, old man.
Don't say okay, Boomer. I'm Gen X.
Let's.
I'm afraid.
Let's hope we don't have to go to this list.
No,
Please no.
Really
It's an El Nino
don't.
year. Hopefully not. Although the predictions for a near to slightly below average hurricane season are not universal. There are a couple of places that are calling for above average.
Actually, James, when you mentioned NC State, to let everyone else know, we have reached out to NC State, and we are waiting for them to maybe get something scheduled for us to kind of talk about how they come up with their hurricane forecast. So,
The floor is yours, NC State. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll even come to you.
yeah. So stick around. Maybe over the next month or two, you may hear NC State's folks come on and kind of tell us what they're thinking. And we're open to anybody's thinking. You know, if you got the research going. and-
Anybody's thinking, we're just going to go to the Waffle House and be like, I'm a hurricane. Do you think we're going to get this year?
That's right. So, well,
Hi, Andrew Messersmith.
Yeah, hello.
hey, Andrew.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, I'm going to leave us tonight with this live view of International Space Station. There it is.
oh, it passes over the Grand Strand here this week.
Does
You
it?
want to? Yeah. Let me pull that up for you right quick. Sorry, I know you want to get
problem.
off.
That's the problem with these live shows, folks.
I know.
We just keep going. Keep going.
It's
The
like,
producer
you
and me is
just-
like, wrap it up, Buzz.
you just put it on there, and I was like, oh, I remember there's a spectacular passing, according to Tony Rice's emails that he sends out. So,
Yeah, you
I have
want to
to
seem
go through-
smart at the next party you go to? Sign up for Tony Rice's emails. Trade secret. Industry trade secret.
I have to do this 2-step authentication.
Oh, there we go. Spot the station link. Oh, this is different than it used to be.
Does that help? Does that help?
There we go. Let's see what we have for Columbia. View sighting opportunities. Let's see. Today's the 10th, so the next one's the 11th. 43 degrees is not the greatest. It's a 5:32 a.m., so it's horrible. I'll be sleeping.
So Friday night in Myrtle Beach at 9:23, an exceptional pass reaches
9:23.
about 80 degrees in the sky, and it lasts for about 5 minutes. So, no, I'm sorry, 6 minutes. So take advantage of that. And another exceptional pass. This one you got to get up early though. Sunday, May 14th at 4:43 in the morning. It reaches 88 degrees in the sky, so almost due overhead for about 7 minutes.
It happens too frequently for me to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go see it.
I'll be up at 4 o'clock, but I'll be forecasting then.
Yeah, you can
We have
join
a
Scotty
decent
on
one.
WBTW.
That's right.
Okay. Now
We
may
have
I
a good one
wrap us?
coming up on Sunday here in Columbia. It's 76, the peak height there. It's
At
visible 7 minutes.
9:23 on a Friday? That sounds way more accommodating.
Yeah, that's right. The good one is early in the morning Sunday, and no one's awake at 4:43 a.m. on a Sunday, except maybe weather
hope
service employees and
Just
Scott.
Scotty. Just Scotty.
I
The people you see on TV as you're having your morning coffee have been there all morning.
all morning. Yeah.
All right, boys. I'm going to make the music go a little bit louder. Like our award speeches have gone on too long. See everybody next week. We'll talk to Dr. Phil Klotzbach, Colorado State University, and what we can expect this hurricane season. Good night.
Bye, y'all.